guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm so excited to record this video. Just really quick, wanted to come on before I head out. Kind of just wanted to talk about accepting yourself in this modern age where honestly connecting with women is probably like giving rocket science, but it's not really giving rocket science. Actually, what it's giving is you get older, you start to kind of see things for what they really are. You kind of start to like peer into and outside of like aesthetics and, you know, what we kind of have today, which is like girl culture, core, you know, type of thing. Like I've heard grown women say like they are in their soft girl era, and it's just like at the end of the day we're women, you know, so it's not really giving that. Do I think that finding our femininity has kind of led to like women bonding together in very superficial ways? Yeah, I think especially when you start talking about like Black women and what that looks like for us to have friendships, you know, like I feel like people are just becoming more and more superficial with their friendships. But back to what I was just saying about like the whole comparative piece. For me, I would say that I grew up pretty popular. I think I grew up pretty popular. I was never really like in the in crowd though, because to me, I didn't like being mean to people. I didn't really understand why we had to be like, you know, popular people had to be like mean to people and like think that they were better than them. So I never really could get along with those type of people, but I've always kind of been somewhat like popular. And, you know, prior to like high school and like me finding my own way and everything like that, I was bullied growing up. So for me, I think I had always kind of had this idea of like lack. I thought I was not good enough. I thought that there was something wrong with me, like, you know, so I just kind of struggled in that in areas of my life. But fast forward, here I am today, and I'm just kind of finding that like when I go to connect with women or when women are connecting with women, this competitive piece, I cannot stress enough the importance of like really finding who you are internally. We hear that, but y'all don't really know like what that really looks like, because I think people be like, oh, you just gotta know yourself internally. But no, it's really like I'm gonna break down how to find yourself internally, how to like invest in yourself internally and really find that security within yourself and that self-love within yourself. Because yeah, everything else is going to be fleeting. And I think if you try to find self-love and confidence on the outside, like you're just never going to really have it, because, you know, confidence is one of those things where it's like it's in you, you know what I mean? It's not on you. Like it's in you, it's not on you. You know what I mean? Like you just got to have it. Either you have it or you don't. And do I think you can get it? Yes, but I think it's something that takes time. I'll honestly say, being someone who's never been like superficial to the point where it's like I'm judging people based on how they look. Like I remember growing up, and there were guys who, you know, grew up in certain environments, you know, had certain situations or whatever, but it's like I was always so cool with them because it's like I saw them for who they were. And it's like I just remember, you know, them telling me like, you know, I am smart, and I'm like, I was never judging you. But it's sad because it's like, you know, I just wonder where those guys are today. But anyway, so when you start talking about that confidence piece, like developing confidence as a woman, first of all, you're gonna have to drop everything that makes you think it's going to be in your outward appearance. The reason being is because I've learned early on in my life, like when I had a little nappy head little boy tell me that a girl looked way better than me, it shattered my little confidence, my little self-esteem. And the lesson in that, I would say, like looking back, hindsight, is the realism that there's always going to be somebody who's prettier than you. Like you're never going to be all 10s across the board, like, you know, on somebody's board, because people have their preferences, people have different things. And so with that, it's like you kind of just have to love the body that God gave you and just work with what you got, you know what I mean? For me, my creative expression, or how I kind of felt confident about myself, was like really finding clothing that fits. Being a slim Black girl, I think sometimes you kind of exist in a monolith, you know, people don't really hypersexualize you, so sometimes you will find that like you're not going to get a lot of attention from men or males, you know. Sometimes you'll find that you're kind of like outcasted, depending on where you are in your life. If you're older, if you're younger, there's that piece, which could be a whole nother video, which I'm not really going to get into that. So, you know, first things first is like don't go too crazy on the beauty, please, because it's like we're all beautiful to somebody and we're all not it to somebody. And I don't say that because of that, you know, nappy head a little boy telling me that, but I will say that because by me not being so overly invested in how I look to the point where it's like that's just everything, like I just cannot, you know what I mean? I don't feel this weightiness of like the anti-aging. I don't care. It's not, I don't care. I don't, you know what I mean? Like, it's not giving that. So it's like I don't have that pressure of like always feeling the need to tweak and touch my body. Like I'm seeing so many Black women today touching their faces. When did we start touching the melanin? you know? So it's just like, that's one thing. The second thing I would say is like, you know, you really got to put in that work. I truly believe that honestly finding self-love and having internal self-love is something like a privilege for Black women. And the reason why I say that is, one, I think growing up with a father helps. If you didn't grow up with your dad, you're gonna have a different experience. So I will honestly just say that in itself, because, you know, young Black girls are hypersexualized. Young Black girls are, you know, just influenced very early on. We already seeing this today with the young rappers today, like, you know, so it's just like, we have a lot of influence and things coming at us. And so we already start off with this paradigm of everything we are not. So it's like, now you have to spend your entire life undoing and unlearning and trying to figure out who you actually are, because America hits us real hard. So the influence, the propaganda, everything is coming at us hard. We're already, you know, kind of giving a deficit. So starting at a deficit. So, you know, you have to understand that you're going to really have to put in some time to get to know yourself. People say doing it through therapy. I can honestly say, you know, for me, being bullied and just kind of growing up and seeing how different people treated people based on how they looked, I just wasn't really with that. So I've always kind of been to myself. I never really had a lot of friends, which honestly, I don't even say that from a pity party, sweetie. I am grateful. Glory be. Okay. I'm so grateful that God kept me set apart, because I was really able to find myself. I was really able to, you know, have my own experiences. I had times where I hung out with girls. I've been in little, you know, girl cliques and things like that. But at the end of the day, I've always kind of been my own person. I've always been able to just kind of stand as Jalen and as an individual. So, you know, I never succumbed to peer pressure. I never struggled with that, because I was always with myself. So it was just like, okay, you know what I mean? Like, y'all don't like me, or y'all want me to do this, or this is the popular thing to do, or this is what all women are doing today, right? Women are, you know, into the, you know, cosmetic, da 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 da. I don't care, because at the end of the day, I'm going to be Jalen. So it's like, that's where you kind of have to be. But I think you can only really be there if you spend a lot of time with yourself. So yes, spending time with yourself is important, but it's not for you to say, okay, I'm just so lonely. Like, no, you really need to be working on yourself. I think it's very unfortunate, because we know America has duped women into making us believe that the thing that is going to bring us the most joy, fulfillment, and just the creme de la creme is a career, which me working since 16, it just never really gave that. Honestly, when I started to look into college, I was here for the bag. I was like, okay, I'm going to study bio, which I did. I studied biology for 2 years. I was going to school to be a doctor, because I'm like, period, I'm getting the money. You know what I mean? Like, when you start working early on, you just like, the mentality is that this is just a job, you know. It's until later you start getting these ideas and people start telling you things like, oh, you know, you need to find something that you can make money and it's going to be lovey and your passion. You don't want a soul-sucking job, corporate, da 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 da. At the end of the day, girl, the bills have to be paid. I could really care less, because at the end of the day, there is no dream job. When I started working as a writer intern, I was working as an editor, I was working as a copywriter. That whole illusion was done for me. Y'all could not convince me with influencer culture that it was ever a such thing as a dream job. There is no such thing as a dream job, because it's not your dream. You know what I mean? Like, are there some people who maybe have jobs and they like what they do and like it's something they always wanted to do? Of course, you know what I mean? That's no different than like someone who's an entrepreneur or whatever. But it's like a dream job. If you're looking for a dream job, I'm gonna just tell you right now, it doesn't exist. So, you know, you're not gonna find fulfillment in that. And so for me, I was always in tune with like life and the lessons and the wisdom and just like learning from my life, you know, learn from your experiences. I would say that like as a woman, like when you go through things, you're spending time alone, you're doing these things, get curious about you. Do you like this? You know what I mean? Ask yourself, do you like what's happening right now? Do you want to change it? Like, get curious about you and start to ask yourself questions and, you know, be honest with yourself. I was able to really form my own philosophies because I did everything that they told me to do and I found that that wasn't the way. You know what I mean? Sometimes we have to kind of go through things and then be like, oh, okay, no, I don't want to do that anymore, you know? So get curious about you. And when you're spending your time alone, you may not be able to afford therapy, but you can always read books. I don't care what nobody's like. Listen, I've learned more in books than from a therapist. I've learned more in books than people who are older than me. Okay, like it has all come from reading. Like reading is the answer. You know what I mean? It's literally the answer. You can read the Bible, and you can read other books as well. So definitely take that time to like invest. You know, and back to what I was saying, it's unfortunate as you know, women, we're never really taught to invest in our personal development. We're always taught to invest in our professional development. Personal development goes into relationships as well. You know, you have to learn how to conduct yourself. We live in a world where, especially today, but I think even just in formal years, men are the prize. I think being indoctrinated as Black women to believe in scarcity. We prize our men. We put them on the pedestal. We just treat them like, you know what I mean? And it's nothing wrong with treating your man good. We can have a different conversation for another day. Y'all know I'm wifey out here, so, you know, I'm taking care of mine. But at the end of the day, it's just one of those things where it's just like, you know, you have to know, like, you have self-worth and you have value. And I think a lot of times as Black women, we are just taught that, like, our value just is really only in a man. And, you know, when people hear that, they automatically think, I don't need a man, or they automatically think, I hate men, or they automatically think you know, and it's like, it's none of that. It's just more so just to say, like, be your own person. Like, you know, who are you? You have value, you have worth. That's all I'm saying. You know, if anything, level the playing field. Okay. So there's that. And then just, you know, that comparative piece. I think for me, growing up and then going to college, dropping out, being back in school, dropping, you know, so forth, my just collegiate journey, I've come across a lot of people. So, you know, because women's circles today are about empowerment, right? Women are no longer seeking that nurturing, that support group. I say this all the time. I said it in the last video. You know, everybody can benefit from women's nurturing except for women. But, you know, it's like we are in a space and time where women are becoming more masculine in the sense of, like, we're no longer women. You know, we're getting together and we're competing as if we were in corporate America. Like, we're getting together and it's getting to the point where it's like women are just becoming so boisterous about, like, their careers and their achievements. And it's just like, ego, look at me. Y'all are beneath me. I got this degree. I went to this school. And it's just like, it's not cute. It's just not really giving. I don't want to say cute because I feel like at this point, like, you know, I don't know the target audience on here, but y'all get the gist. But it's just like, you know, it becomes that. And it's just like, I don't know. I just think that just completely erupts everything. And so when you're a woman and, you know, you may have a different path, or you may be an entrepreneur, or girl, you may bake cookies. I don't know, which I heard, you know, cupcake businesses are booming right now. Shout out to Erin on Demand. She said she made a video talking about, like, some of the top business ideas right now, and cupcake business is booming. So girl, if you are, you know, into baking, do your thing. But I more so just say that, you know, for me personally, being someone who's always kind of followed my heart, who's always done what it is that I love, who's always been passionate about the things that I do, meeting women who kind of come from those collegiate experiences, and, you know, they have, like, you know, it's no different than, like, men who come from those experiences. It's just a different world. And I think that we're living in a space and time now where people are becoming more and more superficial, ever increasing. And I think, you know, if you're watching this and you're a young woman and you're a young adult, you start to kind of realize when you come out into the world, it is a bit of competition. So, you know, I just kind of wanted to make this video to say, like, you know, be okay with yourself, you know, be okay with your experiences. I've been in rooms at this point where it's like, dang, I've left feeling like I was rejected. I left feeling like I wasn't relatable. And then, you know, you just kind of start to realize at the end of the day, this is my life. I get to create my own thing. I can create my own YouTube channel and create my own table and create my own space. You know, so it's just like, and people can vibe with it and people can relate to it. So I think at the end of the day, when you start talking about what it means to be a woman, I want to conclude by just saying, like, to figure out what that is for you, because we're living in a really different time where it's like, you know, the things that would make a woman, the tenderness, the love, the kindness, loving, nurturing, you know, compassionate, empathetic, understanding, you know, those things don't really matter anymore. And I think for myself, growing up as someone who had to look in because I was bullied, I didn't think I was pretty. I realized that, you know, I was humbled very early. So I was like, oh, okay, that ain't going to be the avenue that I'm going to be rocking with, because you can't take that from me. You know what I mean? Like, hey, listen, I want something for myself that can't nobody take from me. You know what I mean? So it's just like, when you start to realize, though, we're living in a time where it's like that, those things no longer matter in womanhood. Like, that doesn't matter. That doesn't even make you a woman. People not even, you know what I mean? There's no acknowledgement for that. And also you have everything that's going on with the world and the culture and just everything. So it's just like, you know, find what womanhood is for you and figure out what success is for you. And honestly, I'm so radical. I am so radical in who God called me to be as a woman, because I'm so grateful. I wouldn't change it for the world. You know what I mean? And I'm so very clear that whatever I do will never define me. I don't care if God got me at Newport, whatever. Is this even a university? Child. Listen, this is not a university. Don't even matter. Whatever I do in this life, I'm not gonna be moved. you know, and that doesn't define me. And, you know, your accomplishments as a woman should never define you. Your beauty as a woman should never define you. Are we fabulous? Absolutely. Do we own that we're fabulous? Absolutely. You know what I mean? Do we ignore the fact that we're fabulous? Absolutely not. But at the end of the day, we realize that there is so much more to us than our looks. There is so much more to us than what we can do for other people. There's so much more for us than just, you know, what we've accomplished in this earth. Period. So, you know, that's just all I want to say. And if you're in this space where you're struggling with comparison, I'm just going to say, get around some more positive people. Get around people who, you know, are just not that way. And I can honestly say, you know, most people, and I'm not going to say most people, honey, everybody's influenced by social media. So, you know, we're kind of living in a time today where it's like, you know, it's not really too much like outside of, there's not really too many people who aren't influenced by social media. So it's going to be really challenging to kind of like really build that and like find that. So I'm just going to encourage you to build your own space, build your own table, build your own space, and just know, like, you know, if you're a woman and you're working on finding your self-worth, you know, build something for yourself that nobody can take away from you. Like, whether that's your relationship with God, okay, girl, can't nobody take your faith. Can't nobody take that away from you, okay? Whether that is, you know, just who you are as a person, you know, nobody can take that away from you. That's the one thing. And so if you're struggling with comparison, don't. And one thing I've learned as I got older, nobody's life is perfect. You know, people can look at me and have certain expectations. That's something I'm also learning, have certain expectations for how I should be, how I should live. You know, people kind of come at me like I should just be this snooty miss, you know what I mean? Just like looking down on people. You know, some people have that expectation. I've had people, you know what I mean, like use it. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of like their expectation of me. But at the end of the day, I'm going to be me. And unfortunately, we have to let people down, ladies. Okay. We can't. Hey, listen, we are not Miss Here to Please. Okay. So we're going to let people down at the end of the day. But, you know, when you live for yourself and you live authentically and you live according to God's will, nobody can take that away from you because it's yours. It was uniquely created for you, uniquely designed for you. It is your lane, girl. Can't nobody get up in it. They try to swerve in it, but girl, they get lost. They start crashing, girl. Things, you know what I mean? Because it's like this lane wasn't created for you. And you know, when you live authentically, you, and you're one of one. You know, so there's no need to look that. You know, everybody's one of one, but it's like we gotta figure out what that is. And you know, I do believe that internal, you know what I mean? That internal confidence that I have is something that I have been built and nurtured and cultivated throughout the years. And God just really added the increase. So, you know, my relationship with God just added the increase. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, girl, people are going to talk. And as you get older, you know, it's things in my life you may not like, you know, you may not be cool with. And it's things in your life I might be like, you know, so it's like, don't come from that angle. You're never gonna, honestly, you're gonna be a very unlikable person if you're constantly like comparing yourself and looking at other people and judging other people. Like, you know what I mean? What are you here for? You know, so figure out what matters to you, figure out what you value, and live your life accordingly. Okay? And I think the only judgment you need to make is, you know, in the mirror when you're not living your life accordingly, when you're not living it according to your values and the things that really matter to you. Peace.